Hey, everyone, and welcome to the Mark Prater podcast, where our aim is to connect our global family of Sovereign Grace churches with our executive director. Mark, we're recording this on Wednesday morning. You're preparing tomorrow morning to get up quite early and spend all day traveling to the Philippines. Tell us why you're going to the Philippines tomorrow.
I'm very excited about this trip to the Philippines. I'm going for a number of reasons, and I wanted to record this podcast this week because when folks receive it next week, I'll actually be there, and I would really appreciate your prayers, as well as if you could pray for Dave Taylor and Jeffrey Joe. So I'm going to the Philippines for a number of different reasons. First of all, on Saturday, we're going to be with a group of Jeffrey Joe's leaders in the Philippines, about 120 folks doing a leaders summit. We'll be with Jeffrey Joe's church on Sunday, and we'll be a part of an ordination service where a couple of men are actually being ordained. So that's just the start of the trip. But I'm going because here's why I'm going. I'm going because we will be adopting 10 churches this spring in the
Wow.
Philippines, and we'll go from 2 to 12. And there are at least another 20 or more that will
Mm.
be adopted in the next couple of years. So we are going to have quite a presence. Sovereign Grace will have quite a presence in the Philippines. And so it seems like this is a timely trip, a strategic trip to just go and invest into the pastors and wives who will be attending a conference next week. I'm going secondly because just to get time with Jeffrey Joe, who is a key leader. So pray for him. I thank God for him. It's a way to
Yes.
invest into him. I'm also going because I'm taking a person with me who's given very generously to the Asia Pacific Development Fund. And I want him to see the fruit of his generosity. And there'll be another person who's given generously to that fund from Australia. And so those guys just getting together in Manila to watch how their generosity is having an impact is another reason to go. So those are just some of the reasons that I'm going. And again, if you would please pray for our trip, and we need your prayers. We want to be led by the Spirit of God. Of course, we want to be faithful to what we're asked to do next week, but nothing will happen of any significance, and we will not be able to give God glory if the Spirit doesn't fill us and lead us. So please pray.
Absolutely. The podcast will be dropping on Monday, so it'll be Monday when guys see this. So you'll be there in the thick of it. The weekend will have passed, so some of these things already have happened. But yes, we will be praying. Um, Tell us about this conference and what's going to happen there.
Yeah, let me mention the Leadership Summit on Saturday again. I mentioned that previously, about 120 leaders. That is the theme of that. We're calling a Leaders Summit, is the joy of gospel partnership.
Mm.
I was actually sharing text with Jeffrey Joe this morning, asking how I could pray for him. And he said, could you pray that the time that you're here would be used to build us together as a family in the Philippines within the family of Sovereign Grace churches? So that theme of the joy of gospel partnership is intentional. Dave Taylor is going to teach on a topic called Together in Partnership. Just talk about the joys and strengths and wonders of what we
Mm.
enjoy in partnership. And then he's going to talk about, Dave's going to do a second sermon on Together around the cross. We just
Mm.
want to keep our partnership centered in the gospel and the finished work of Jesus Christ on the cross. And then I'm going to do a message on Together abiding in Christ from John 15, that we want to be leaders who abide in Jesus, for apart from him we can do nothing. We want to live
Amen.
that way, with that kind of desperate abiding in Christ. And then, as I mentioned, on Sunday we'll be at Jeffrey Joe's church. I'll be preaching that morning, and then Dave and I will be participating and ordaining two more elders there, elders who have faithfully completed the Sovereign Grace ordination process. And that's going to be just a real joy. And then Dave is going to be preaching, and I'm going to go with him at another church in Manila. Cloy's Church is the name of the guy who is also pursuing partnership with Sovereign Grace, and that church will be a part of Sovereign Grace. So we'll spend time with them. And then that following week, beginning on Tuesday afternoon, is the Asia Pacific Pastors and Wives Conference. And it's called the Asia Pacific Pastors and Wives Conference because pastors and wives will be traveling not just from around the Philippines, but from India, from Nepal, From South Korea, Sungwon and Miriam will be there, for example, from Australia. And there'll be a collection of pastors and wives from the Asia Pacific part of the world, either pastors who lead churches that are in Sovereign Grace or pursuing partnership with Sovereign Grace. And the theme of our conference is the beauty of pastoral ministry. So Dave's going to opening session on Tuesday afternoon, the pastor and the cross. Again, we want to center everything we do in the gospel. On Wednesday morning, I'll be preaching on the pastor and his flock, our call to be shepherds, as I mentioned in the last podcast. And then that afternoon, Jeffrey Joe will be preaching on the pastor and his soul. And then Thursday morning, I'll be preaching on the pastor and his team, talking about the joys of team ministry and why team ministry is important in Sovereign Grace. And then Dave is going to end the conference on Thursday afternoon, talking about the pastor and taking risk, the right risk in advancing the gospel of Jesus Christ. So I think there's at least 300 folks, maybe more, that are coming to this conference. And I just can't wait to see what God is going to do there. My faith has been strengthened as I've prayed. My heart is happy, and I'm just looking forward to see what God is going to do. Mostly, though, I hope that Dave and Jeff and I can serve, that we can serve our brothers and sisters who labor so faithfully in the Asia Pacific part of the world.
Well, thank you for the way that you do serve all over the world in investing in partnership. It is gratifying to hear about not just connection and relationship, but sturdy partnership being built globally, ordination and adoption and so forth. So thank you, Mark and Dave, for your investment. Thank you, Jeffrey. I know Jeffrey checks out this podcast. So thank you, brother, for the wonderful gift you are to our partnership as a key leader in the Philippines. And thank you all for watching or reading. We'll see you here, Lord willing, next week. Bye for now.
Thank you for watching. If you have questions or comments, Mark would love to hear from you. For more videos like this, hit subscribe on YouTube or by email at markkprater.com.